If you're a driven, active person who wants to reach and pursue a higher quality life with some ambition, then guess what? This podcast is for you. This is the Driven Athlete Podcast. What's up, y'all? It's your man, Dr. Kyle. Driven Athlete Podcast. Welcome back. We got the legend, the man, Matt Hunt, with us today. I know you're a busy dude, so thank you for coming in. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
For being here. So you're one of the owners of HEW, right?
Yeah, Randall and I are the founders.
Founders of HEW.
Yeah.
Hard Exercise Works.
Yeah.
How did you guys get that idea? Like, how'd that come about?
Well, I had been doing it prior to moving here in 2005. So we had 13 locations in the Atlanta area and sold that, moved my family down here in 2005. And then after about 6 months was like, I got to start the similar concept up down here. So we found a place in Jupiter, Florida. Actually started right before I met Randall. We opened up a CrossFit facility because I had worked as a subject matter expert for CrossFit, teaching CrossFit locations how to open up their locations as a franchise, like how the steps for it.
Right.
And it was a 4-day seminar that we did once a month for about 8 months on and off with CrossFit. So I lived in Florida. We would travel out west. Originally started in Santa Cruz. Then Greg Glassman, the founder of CrossFit, moved to Prescott. And we would host them between there, Atlanta, Georgia. So long story short, I realized that, I just love this business. I wanted to get back into a potential franchise type model. So opened up a CrossFit location which is typical style in a warehoused unit back in Jupiter Commerce Business Park.
Yep.
And met Randall through that. And then he started working out and I said, hey, why don't we form a partnership and see what we can do together? And then we did that for about 6 months and realized the CrossFit name really wasn't the direction we wanted to go. And we had a little bit different style, but it was still functional, intense, varied movement. So we relocated that gym from to I think it was 280 or 230 West Indiantown Road, and that really got the ball rolling. I mean, within a year we were up and running and full, and we had to double our location size, and so we moved to the 711 address, which is where we are now.
Current location for HEW Jupiter.
Yeah,
that's really cool. So you're from Atlanta originally?
Well, originally all over, but I ended up in Atlanta after I graduated from college.
Gotcha.
And lived there for 28 years, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you moved around a lot then as like a kid growing up?
Yeah, I was born in Michigan. We lived in Hawaii for a long period of time. Then my father moved back. He got a job in Ohio, and that's kind of where I ended up in Cincinnati.
Was he in the Navy or what was he doing?
No, he was he ran library systems for counties and states. So he was the state librarian for.
Interesting.
Yeah. An avid reader. I hated the librry. So,
I'm sure you're there a lot.
He would always say, hey, have you read your book today?
Yeah.
So
that's funny. Well, that's interesting. I mean, that's kind of like a franchise, right? Like a bunch of navigating and managing the same kind of thing.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Is that where you got a lot of your entrepreneurial insights from or motivation?
Probably more motivation, not necessarily insights. I had no clue. I read everything I could about franchising before we get into it, but still, when you really practically apply, it's like saying, hey, you can throw a football, but when you really start reading schemes and understanding what the quarterback position is, it was a lot more daunting once we got in it. So we figured things out quickly. And thank God Randall is a great business partner and a solid engineering background, because that's my skill set that I lacked. So together with my background, which was more sales and marketing, and his background of how to put the pieces together, it worked out extremely well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So so y'all, what was your franchise in Atlanta?
It was called Sonz, S-O-N-Z Fitness. Yeah. Same type concept, same high intensity movement,
A lot of barbell work?
Yeah, substantial amount. Yeah.
Running?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Run, lift, jump.
What led you to be like, I want to open a fitness franchise? What led to that?
Yeah. So I come from I had a wrestling background.
Okay.
And so from that, I realized that in the wrestling practices, we did these same type workouts, and then we would take a 10 or 15 minute break and then do mat work. So we always did the a different, constantly varied workout. A lot of rope climbing, a lot of pegboard, a lot of, just drill work, a lot of lifting. And then after that, it was always intense. So it was always a very quick, rapid, short workout, usually 4 time under 20 minutes. Take a 10-minute break and then go out and do your mat work.
Yeah.
So it just stemmed from that. And through that, I met a bunch of guys who ended up becoming Navy SEALs and Army Rangers. And so I kept in that community with these guys. And then I started writing workouts for some of the Special Forces guys, just casually. We talk about, hey, what makes you really fit? What can you sustain working out, going out in the field? What makes you fit? Yeah. And I still to this day haven't found anything better than a constantly varied functional movement performed at high intensity.
Yeah, that makes sense. Consistently.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you had Sans Fitness.
Yeah.
13 locations, you said?
Correct.
And then sold that, moved down here to Jupiter.
Yep.
And then your CrossFit gym?
Yep.
That was in the Commerce Warehouse District, and they said it wasn't really the style, it wasn't really your fit.
Well, CrossFit has CrossFit caters largely to 25-year-old fire breather guys, very, A-type personalities. And there's nothing, that's perfect. But we catered more towards just the general population. We had women coming over to the gym, 30 to 40 years old, saying, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds. And we realized that's a far larger market to approach. Plus, that's the background I came from with Sans. So I was used to dealing just with the general public. I didn't really want elite athletes, so to speak. I just wanted your everyday person who wanted to get better. Yeah. And it's worked out well for us.
That's awesome. And I think from like a longevity standpoint of goals and like where people are at, like sticking to that is going to be, at least for what I found, more likely to stick to it, of like versus the mid 20 fire breather competitors. Like at some point that the competition ends, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you can't do that all forever. Versus like I want to be a better version of myself and just maintain a healthy lifestyle. Yeah. That will be maintained until you're 70, you know what I mean? Or 75, you know what I mean? So and a lot more people are in that boat, like you said.
Oh, yeah, by far. It's the majority of the American population. They just want to feel better, look better, perform better.
So from there, you were like, I want to target a different market, different brand, the brand association. Yeah. And that's when you came up with Hard Exercise Works.
Yeah, so coming from a brand that we had already created, and I met Greg Glassman through that brand.
Through Sans.
We were in a roundtable group where they took some of the best performing gyms. So it was a Faust roundtable group, and he had 4 segments of 10 individuals that he would group together, and you met 3 to 4 times a year and you talked about. So that's how I was introduced to Greg. Then I went out and took one of the first CrossFit Level 1 seminars, and I was like, this guy's doing the exact same thing in California that we've been doing in Atlanta, Georgia. So he asked me to come on and be a subject matter expert. And I realized that as great as CrossFit is, we just didn't want to go in the same direction as that.
Yeah.
So
understandable. Yeah. So how'd you come up with Hard Exercise Works, HEW?
We just thought that was that was the straight to the point.
It's pretty
name.
Practical. Yeah. Pretty direct.
And ironically, because it's such a mouthful, I work out at Hard Exercise Works. People just started the acronym HEW. Yeah. And so it became HEW Fitness. And
so that was kind of like happenstance that you're like, a lot of these members 100%. Are saying HEW. And like, great, let's run with it, HEW.
Yeah. We had a consulting group come in. They interviewed all these customers, the members. And since the majority of our membership across the brand is 60 to 65% females who are between 30 and 45, they were calling it HEW, and they're like, hey, stick with it. Yeah. Customers love that. Just run with that.
Yeah. So. And I imagine so you were saying the best approach, philosophy of fitness, it seems like the best results come from consistently doing functional fitness at high intensity.
Yeah. That's my belief.
And that includes movements like describe some of the movements that people would expect at HEW.
Anything barbell related, anything kettlebell related. So barbell related would be squats, deadlifts, overhead squats, cleans, power cleans. Anything kettlebell related, kettlebell swings, kettlebell deadlifts, kettlebell snatches, learning those more difficult movements, obviously in the beginning with real light weight, just understanding how the movement is performed, but always switching it up. So you want to have a monostructural movement. You want to have some sort of what I call cardiovascular type movement or gymnastic type movement. And then you want some weight bearing stuff in there. And then again, with all the gymnastic movements involve things like pull-ups or handstand push-ups, those type movements.
Yeah. And then the cardio, the running component, there's usually always a running aspect.
Almost always, yeah. A running, rowing, some type of monostructural movement where you have to do that part of the performance and come back and lift weights because it's a lot harder to...
It's a game changer.
You got it.
Like it's a total game.
Yeah.
I used to hate... So I played 2 sports in college, right? I played football, and that obviously you're going to lift a lot more. It's a standard thing.
Yeah.
But I used to hate doing conditioning and then going in and doing the weight room because I was like, I'm not as strong, right? Like I'm just like depleted. I'm like fatigued out. I'm burning. Like everything's not as strong. So like, man, like the times that I've done a bunch of HEW workouts with you guys, man, I'm always like, that's hard, you know? Yeah. It's like, it's difficult. And like, okay, now I got to run outside again and then come back in and do more squats or lunges or kettlebell swings, power cleans, like deadlifts, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I got to muster up this strength to do this.
Right.
And the great thing that I've always liked, and I'm a huge advocate of it, with group exercise, is you're going to push yourself a lot more.
Oh, for
with
sure.
people around you versus like by yourself at a gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with your headphones in.
Yeah. And you know, we constantly hear, well, I'm not competitive from customers. And I always laugh. Every single person is competitive. So if I see you in the class and I realize you're doing more than me, I mentally see you out of the corner of my periphery, you know, and I want to work harder. And so that's why groups work.
Yeah, totally. I mean, plenty of studies on the entrepreneurial standpoint, like you are who you hang out with.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was something that came up, just it's related to like pushing yourself and being somewhat competitive. Some kind of Harvard study about like the number one indicator of someone's income is who they reference themselves to, who they compare themselves to, which is like you are who you hang out with and if you want to be a millionaire, you hang out with 5 millionaires and you'll be the 6th.
Right.
Right. I'm sure you've heard the same similar stuff.
100%. Yeah.
I definitely agree with that same thing with fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah.
And it's totally evident. But anyway, it's like you're able to push yourself a little bit more being in that group and be like, I think I'm going to take this last set off. You know, it's like, you can't do that. People are watching you, you know? But anyway, the running component is a game changer with the weightlifting. Totally. But that's awesome. So Greg Glassman, right? He's the founder of CrossFit.
Yes.
Do y'all still do collaborations still?
No.
Because I know he exited CrossFit.
Yeah, he's starting a new thing. I think, well, he's not starting it. He's been in it. It's, I can't remember the exact name of it. It's a health initiative, and they go by the short name MetFix, but he's essentially going in the direction that nutrition is a huge component of this whole game, roughly 80% in the fitness space. So he's moving from, I believe, that direction and then saying you need to do fitness on top of it, but you got to dial in your nutrition first.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I believe that nutrition is a key component to not only staying healthy, but longevity in your workouts. As I've gotten older, I've cut back largely on carbohydrates because I've realized for me, they weren't as beneficial long-term. I would end up getting a lot of joint pain and soreness after about 45 years old. So as I began to cut that back, I felt better and stronger in my workouts overall. And there's, you know, we can argue this stuff back and forth all day long, the science, but I only speak for myself. And so when people ask, I say, this is what works for me.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of opinions on nutrition, but I definitely agree that like the nutrition is going to be the most impactful component of like if somebody wants to improve their well-being, health, fitness, wellness, general the way they feel.
Right.
I've always thought that like if you don't work out at all, but you dial in your nutrition, you're going to notice differences.
Yeah.
So what's your nutrition plan look like right now?
I pretty much follow the carnivore diet for the most part. I eat a lot of high protein, high fat. Very little carbohydrate. I never turn it away. Like tonight, we're going out to celebrate something for a friend, so we're going to a restaurant, and I'll pick and choose the majority of what I eat. But you know, if there's carbs there, I'll indulge myself.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
What's your diet like?
The 80-20 rule, you know?
Yeah.
My diet, good question. I don't think anybody asked me that yet. I feel like I do better when I have a lot of vegetables in my life.
You do. Good.
Yeah, like broccoli, green beans, peas, spinach. I usually have spinach every morning. I have 3 eggs in the morning, and I'm talking with some other nutrition people about like, and this also does a different rabbit hole of like conspiracy theory and just food and the state of the political climate's super hot right now, you know, but just in general of like the ingredients of food is so lengthy and just convoluted and complex now. It's like, it wasn't like that, you know, 20 years, 30 years ago, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Who knows? I've only been a coherent adult for 7 years of my life. I'm 35, right? When are you a coherent adult? Right? What point? Like you're not 18 and all of a sudden an adult, you know,
right?
Just accidentally living. And then it's just first half of your life is just or the first third of your life is just an accident.
Yeah.
Then hopefully just preventing major blunders from happening, you know, like major things. But anyway, I've only been a coherent adult for 7 years, but so heck if I know, but like, it does seem like, man, there's like a lot of complex ingredients and a lot of stuff.
Oh, there is.
And a lot of sick people, like sickly individuals that are on multiple medications and solution, take another medication to prevent this medication from that side effect of that medication. And then, oh, by the way, take more vaccines. It'll help you.
Right.
I'm like, man, I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, to answer your question, nutrition, with the eggs, right? I'm like getting super organic eggs. I don't eat white eggs anymore.
Okay.
They're not like real from what I've heard. And then with a little bit of cheese, I definitely I'm not gonna not put cheese in my eggs. A little bit.
Do you eat meat?
Oh yeah. I'm a meat guy for sure.
Yeah.
And then spinach for breakfast, and then lunch I usually have the same thing because I want to lower the amount of decisions I have to make, and I really don't care. Like as long as that somewhat tastes okay and I'm getting the best nutrition I can, but I'll eat the same thing every day. Yeah. It's like almost like a way. This is another philosophy thing. Depending on where you're at in your life, and this is where I'm at. Like I'm a dad. I got 2 kids. I got one on the way. I'm a business owner. I got to get my own workouts in. I got a bunch of stuff I got to knock out. Yeah. I'm sure you know exactly what that's like. Eating is like a time-consuming in the way thing. Where I'm like, I need to knock out a workout and call this person. I'm like, shoot, I got to eat first. If I don't eat, I'm going to be super lightheaded and I'm not going to get my workout in. Right. I'm like, I gotta work. I gotta eat. Like this is annoying, you know? Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so for lunch I have a Greek yogurt with some walnuts. Okay. And then usually some kind of like chicken or rice, quinoa, some kind of carb like that. And then or meat, fish, ground turkey. Right. And then like a big Tupperware of green beans or something.
Are your workouts high intensity for the most part?
I dabble a little bit of the both. Yeah. Like I find myself enjoying what I do the most consistently is just weightlifting, strength training, and I'll layer in some cardio stuff with it. Okay. You know, either after the workout or between a circuit of strength exercises, do some cardio and then wrap up the workout with more strength exercises. And then minimal rest time between. I'm usually moving back and forth through stuff.
Am I allowed to ask you questions?
Yeah, I want you to. Yeah, this feels weird.
Well, so you said you've got 2 kids, one on the way, so you're going to have 3.
3.
You've got, what are they, boy, girl?
Yeah, my daughter's 4. Okay. And then my son is 2. Okay. And then we're having a boy. November 23rd is the due date. Yeah. Excellent. So we're 2 months away. You know, like. In what 4 weeks? It could be any week, you know.
How's your wife doing?
She's doing good.
Good.
She's definitely, she's getting bigger. She's getting more fatigued. She's 31 weeks at this point. Yeah. And then just she's getting, soreness, which is normal, but she's doing really good. Good. Like overall. Yeah. And oh my gosh, we're just like, we moved in a new house earlier this year and we renovated everything while living in it with like 2 toddlers.
Oh man.
It was tough.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, and everything's dusty and like, just all this chaos. And I was just like, this is good. This is good. Yeah. I need this. Like, just got to live in the chaos. Yeah. Just live in it and be okay.
Embrace it.
Embrace it. Just live in it. It'll be okay. And it won't last forever. Right. But anyway, so then dinner, I usually eat the same thing for lunch and dinner. Whatever the main entree, the meat, and then some kind of quinoa rice, maybe a corn tortilla, I'll have that for a carb, and then just frozen vegetables that I heat in the microwave. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
You brought up something interesting. You said you like to minimize your choices. And John Sullivan, the owner of Guanabanos, works out with this good friend. And he said he comes from a chef background and a cooking background. He says there's 2 types of people in this world. This always cracked me up. I'd never heard it before. He goes, those that live to eat and those that eat to live. Yeah. And I am definitely just like I don't care what it looks like. If it's, I'm eat to live guy, ground chuck, ribeye steaks. I'm like the Stephen Jobs of the refrigerator. It's just all lined up, frozen. It's easy for me to pull out in the morning, thaw out. I don't eat until noon. I eat my first little bit of ground chuck.
Okay.
Then I have the ribeye for dinner, and it's simple. And people are like, don't you get tired of it? I
really don't care. I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Is if rarely, especially right now in our life, because going out to eat right now is like absolute hassle. There's no, have you ever been out to eat with toddlers? I'm sure you guys know, they're immediately running around the whole restaurant, screaming, going up to people and looking at their food. And I'm like, we gave some space, they're going to sit down. They're not sitting down. We're not going out to eat. We're managing and chasing is what we're doing.
Right.
But anyways, even if we do go out to eat on a date night or something like that, I'm like, I look at the menu, I'm like, that looks good, I'll have that, and my wife will be like, I bet you would probably like this a lot and this. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. She knows me better than I know me, and I'll order it. I'm like, this is really good, man. I do kind of miss eating, adventurously every once in a while. But during the weekly grind, I'm like, bro, I don't even care. I'm hungry. I got stuff to do, and I want to get home at a decent time so I can spend time with my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's really what I want.
Yeah.
So I just don't care. I have not gotten to the stage yet of lowering decisions of what to wear,
Right.
a lot of high level people would wear the same thing every day, again, to lower the decision-making process. I'm just like, do I want to wear this one with this pants or what,
Yeah.
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm on the fence, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. I think our careers lend to that because it's pretty much this for, in our business.
Yeah, totally. So that's usually what I eat. And then the 80-20 rule, weekends usually we'll have pizza. I'm a pizza guy.
Yeah.
I like everything. But we'll usually a little bit less stringent, and then if snacking at night, probably chips and salsa.
Right.
That's my snack.
Oh yeah. Love that stuff. I miss it a lot. I'm probably going to have some tonight though, because we're going to La Bamba.
Oh, it's a great spot.
Yeah.
All the chips you can eat.
Yeah.
I made the big mistake. I usually eat way too many chips and my entree comes and I'm like, give me a box, I'm just not used to engorging I did in college,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then same with alcohol too,
Yeah.
I have not kicked that. I enjoy, beer, cocktail. I enjoy it still. I haven't totally kicked it out of my life yet.
Right. Yeah.
I know, you're familiar with Bedros Keuilian?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him. I like his message.
Yeah.
And Jocko Willink, same thing.
Yeah, sure.
Those are the guys that I just resonate with,
Same.
They're both alcohol, don't do it. Right. I know Bedros is like that, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Well, neither am I. I mean, I'll have maybe a drink a month, but I still enjoy it, especially if I'm going to a function.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But anyway, that's what I eat. That's my
good.
80-20 rule, I think, is definitely important because I've always thought, and this happened to me, deprivation will ultimately lead to binging.
Yeah.
It's if I deprive myself and cut cold turkey, it leads to some kind of, even The Rock, right? Dwayne Johnson, he has a cheat meal. I just don't call it cheat meals. I don't know. But I'm an advocate for that.
Yeah, same. And I'll treat myself to a little bit of chocolate on the weekend, every weekend, simply because I just want to be normal.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels good.
Yeah, totally. That's interesting. No, I appreciate you asking me questions. I usually know good questions.
Yeah, all right.
But anyway, navigating. So you have a family, right?
Yeah.
Your kids?
3
kids. How old are they?
I have a daughter who is 28, just left the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
I have a son who's 25, who's in the Army Reserves, works at the Pentagon in intelligence. And then I have a 19-year-old daughter who's just about to turn 20, and she plays college volleyball up in New York.
What college?
William Smith College. It's a D3 team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
She loves it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I've heard from a lot of wiser parents than myself that it goes fast.
It does.
And to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine my daughter being 28, or even 19.
Yeah. Well,
it breaks my heart. I don't like thinking about it because I'm going to miss her,
Yeah. I was, it's funny you bring that up because I really think all the people I work with, all my business partners, the franchise owners, they're all in your age range and they all are in the same boat with children. And it's so fascinating to listen to their stories. But I realized, man, it just, you hear it all the time, but it literally flew by. And I'm thinking, God, these kids are all out on their own, and it's just incredible. But enjoy it. Yeah. Enjoy the chaos.
Yeah, exactly. I think we need that like difficult trial of like a renovation when you're living in it with like it allowed me to be like, just live in the chaos.
Yeah.
Just be okay with it.
I went through, as soon as you were saying that, I was reliving mine. We bought a house out in the farms, took 8 months to renovate it. Well, supposedly 8 months, ended up being over a year. The kids were dusty every night. We had to, stuff hanging in the house, the tarps to keep wherever they were jackhammering up the floor and doing the kitchen. So yeah, I understand.
We had the
perfectly
plastic
well.
sheets up.
Yeah.
And we had to like, the fridge was still in the kitchen behind the plastic sheets, because the whole kitchen was tarped off.
Yeah.
And we had like a little zipper between the thing. And we had to have sandals like at the entrance because it was so dusty.
Yeah.
You would track it everywhere you went.
I know exactly.
So we put the sandals on, walk to the fridge, grab a armful of things, close the fridge with your leg, walk on the sandals, take the sandals off when you get to the exit, and then walk barefoot to the table. You know what I mean?
So funny. Yeah.
We had a tabletop microwave at the other side of the living room. We had like a little griddle machine that we would cook eggs, and my wife was awesome. She's super resourceful with like cooking and stuff like that. So we didn't eat out, like really at all, still. It's also monetarily a better decision anyway. Yeah. It just made it happen, Yeah. Spilled eggs everywhere. My daughter was like trying to grab the griddle thing. It's super hot. It's like, don't do that. Yeah. Eggs spilled all over the floor. It's like, now we got to go back to the fridge and do and clean everything up. Oh, and I'm running late, Yeah. It's rough, Yeah. But it's just a journey, Yeah,
it is.
This was going to bring up. So, you mentioned like the Guanabana's owner. What was his first name?
John Sullivan.
John Sullivan. People eat to live or live to eat. Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I'll observe people before a meal, let's say, and they have like their plate ready and they're getting ready.
Yeah.
They have their silver, they're getting their napkin on their plate, and they're like, for lack of a better term, they're like making love to their meal. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just like ready to eat, to pound it and like get moving. You know what I mean? And it's just a different philosophy. Maybe I dip my toe in appreciating it. Like I said, a good meal here or there, like out to eat but other than that, like, especially now, like even at home, I'm just like crushing the meal as fast as I can so that my kids don't throw their plate everywhere. That's all I'm doing. It's just as fast as possible. Yeah. And just managing them, get up and chase them, get back and take a bite, take 3 bites real fast.
Yeah.
But maybe then this will make me then appreciate eating differently once my kids grow older.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
Man, like this is kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has that happened with you or no?
Yeah, no, it's enjoyable now because managing kids, as you all know, which is the greatest thing you could ever do in life, but it's chaotic, I always made sure they ate first and then I would, follow through with mine, but you had to corral them and take care of them. 100%. So, yeah.
I find myself when I prepare, the times that I do prepare dinner, which is less often than my wife, because usually I'm at work, I get home and we're already kind of managing, or I'll take the kids because she's at home full time and I'll take them out we'll go for a walk. My daughter's amazing. And my son's the same. Like my son's amazing too. I love my son more than anything in the world too. But they'll be like, let's go on a sunshine walk. And I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. We can go look at like the Halloween decorations and that huge skeleton guy, or like go look for lizards or something. And then my wife is with the kids all day. So like, you stay here. I was like, you want me to cook dinner? She's like, no, I just want some separation time. I'm like, perfect. Yeah. I'll take the kids outside. I haven't seen them all day. We'll go run, you know, or go swimming or something. And then come back, dinner's ready. But what I was going to say was if I prepare dinner, I find myself eating while I'm preparing and I'm done eating. Yeah. And then I serve my kids the food, like, hey, dinner's ready. So I'm not hangry and I'm not trying to like I'm not trying to like stuff myself while they're eating. I don't even eat anyway. I can just manage them. Right. And I'm already eating, you know? Yeah. It's like, I just got to make it happen right now.
True.
You know? Yeah. But, so I was going to ask was, so with the fitness thing, your kids, I would imagine they take some of the lifestyle habits that you've instilled.
I couldn't keep them out of the gym. You know, you've been in there and you see it. So when you're a kid and you see ropes and rings and kettlebells, they're totally unique to your fitness experience. And so they want to hands-on touch everything. And they played sports all their life. My son wrestled at the Citadel. My daughter plays volleyball at William Smith. So, they've been, their whole life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And super driven apparently because your son works for the Pentagon.
Yeah.
daughter's a full-time athlete right now at school.
Yeah.
Your oldest daughter
So she's been working out her whole life. She just
left the Air Force.
left the Air Force. She's going back to school on the GI Bill, but she has. I don't think those kids have missed a workout since they were 13 years old. And I didn't force them to do it. They just saw the habits of mom and dad doing it. Yeah,
and I've also heard that we reflected on and try to really absorb that wisdom from other people, as in like they just are interested in what you're interested in. They watch you so much like a sponge, which is totally true, because they talk like us, they say the lingo like us, they say little quirky things that I say, and I'm like, I say that all the time, like you're just listening to me.
Yeah,
I got to be really careful,
Yeah.
More purposeful. But
and you're probably going to have three athletic kids. It's just the way, because of
our backgrounds. Yeah. So
is your wife into fitness?
Yeah. So what I was going to say is like she works out, and she works out twice a week, maybe 3 times a week right now.
Yeah.
And it's just part of the routine. And my kids still have a meltdown when she leaves the house, but then they're fine in 5 minutes, and we're playing with trucks and dinosaurs, and like we're totally fine. It's just hard. I think it's harder for my wife than it is for the kids.
Yeah, probably.
She's like, it was totally normal. It's just mom. So but anyway, the kids expect it, and they're like, "Are you exercising tonight, mom? Like, make sure you give me your hug before you leave."
Yeah.
So that like they anticipate the normal expectation of exercise being a part of like life, and then they ask, like, "Why do you exercise?" Like, why?
Yeah.
But so we want to make that a normal thing.
Yeah.
Normalize it.
Yeah.
And then instill that in their life.
Have you had the sports talk with your wife yet about like what sports the kids are going to play? Or
Totally. So my wife was an athlete. She played D1 soccer, University of Miami.
Oh, nice.
Walk on, which is amazing. And then
is she tall?
She's 5'8".
Okay.
She was 5'9". Now she's 5'8".
Well, how tall? You're tall.
I'm 6'5".
Yeah.
So our daughter is like, she's up there in the height level. And then my son is midway right now, but a little taller than maybe midway. And then our third kid, who knows,
Yeah.
But she totally, works out a ton. She's an athlete back in the day. I think our philosophies from what we've delved into and hearing advice and wisdom from other wise individuals and our own reflections, like we want to just encourage and support what they want to do. And then when they're ready, for sure, we'll pour in advice and motivation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But whatever they're into, like we want to have them be exposed to a lot of different things and try some stuff, and not quit if they commit to it.
Right.
And then the thing we heard with that too is from someone we follow and read their stuff. It's like, if you quit on a good day.
Yeah.
Like, you want to quit right now, it sucks. Totally understandable. Let's continue because we made a commitment. And then let's see, like, when you're having a really great week at the end of that week and it was amazing, if you still want to quit, then at the end of the season, we'll stop.
Yeah.
Like we'll finish our commitment and then we'll stop and won't do it again.
Yeah.
And we're at that right now with our daughter.
Yeah. Good.
She's only 4.
Yeah.
But she loves soccer.
Yeah. Good.
Amazing. She just came out one day the night before bed. She put on this shirt that had some like stripes on it and her tall socks. Out of nowhere, she was like, "This is my soccer shirt. And these are my soccer socks." She had her soccer ball. She's like, "Let's play right now."
I love it.
And I was like, "Your bedtime's in 20. Let's play. We'll play right now in the living room."
Yeah.
And we're kicking balls and like we're running around and it was amazing. And I'm like,
that's cool.
This is really sweet.
Yeah.
Like, we're signing up for soccer. Let's get it. And her first season was this past spring.
Yeah.
They're just like little ducklings chasing the ball.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch. So, yeah.
And then she just started her second season last week.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
She scored a goal, which is amazing.
Yeah, cool.
And this past Saturday, she played again, and she halfway through did not score a goal. She came to the sideline for a water break, and she was like, we're like, "Hey, great job. We can tell you're hustling, like so proud of how hard you're trying, amazing, great work." She's like, "But I didn't score a goal." And I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I was like, well, the best thing we can do is keep trying.
Yeah.
That's all you can do,
Yeah.
But that's all you can do. Just keep hustling, keep getting after it,
That's so cool.
And then my son is just rough and tumble wrestling, physical. He needs me to wrestle with him. If I'm laying down, he's jumping on me.
Yeah.
Right away. Which is awesome. My daughter does the same thing.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like, I want that for them.
Yeah.
But anyway, to answer your question, like the sports talk, we want them to, they seem to be naturally interested in it. I think we're naturally into it, and then we're not going to, at least I say this now, but I don't want to force them.
No, I think that's wise. We did the same thing, honestly. Let them gravitate to what they really wanted to do. We made suggestions. They tried a few other sports, but the last one knew from the beginning. She's like, I'm not doing anything else other than volleyball. Had no interest in any other sports, and good athletically, but just gravitated towards volleyball.
Yeah. I think one other thing that was instilled in my family growing up was music.
Yeah.
My dad is really good at the piano. My sister's really good naturally. My brother was naturally really good, and I wasn't very naturally good.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it was the way I was taught. And I want to reflect on that as in like, I recently being, 8 years ago, I was tired of sucking, and I wanted to be good at that because I enjoy playing. I enjoy making music. It's fun. It's cool. It sounds good, and it makes me feel good. So I was like, man, I'm going to reteach myself. So I bought a keyboard from this kid that was a Boy Scout, put it in his garage, and I just bought it from him, negotiated him down. He worked,
Right.
And then I just bought these adult beginner books, and then just started, had to relearn. It was hard,
Are you better?
Now I'm better. Yeah.
Good.
I bought a piano 4 years ago, right before COVID, which actually worked out timing wise.
Nice. Yeah.
And then which encouraged me to practice more because it's a good sounding piano. It's not anything special by any means, but it's a real one, It's legit. And now my kids will just gravitate towards that too now.
Yeah, cool.
And they just like play.
Yeah.
So it's like normalizing it also, So anyway, that's something I want to instill in my kids too, is like playing the piano. I think it's, from what I've heard, the mother of all instruments, and it's great for hand-eye coordination and all the mind stimulation and coordination involved with all this stuff. And it's only going to make them, it's a skill stack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so that's something else we want to instill in our kids.
Nice. Yeah.
So at some point we'll see. And see if they gravitate towards it.
Right.
And I'm always like, man, growing up at least, I was resisting it and I didn't like it because I was like, I'd be rather outside playing basketball or playing manhunt or like, kicking the ball outside or something.
Yeah.
I just didn't see the value. Like, I'm a nerd.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if it was framed to me as in like, this is going to be a skill that is going to set you apart and outperform your colleagues, let's say, your friends, and it's going to layer in a skill stack that's going to make you just, be a better competitor and performer in life and skill stack, and then taught differently with that frame, I think I would have been more into it for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, reflecting on that, I'm like, I'm going to try to be a chameleon with my kids and like frame it in a way that they're going to gravitate towards it.
Yeah.
Versus like, it's not my dream, Dad, it's yours. And it's like, well, it's going to be better for your life.
Right. Yeah.
I want to avoid that for sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Did you have any of that stuff?
No, we took the approach you did. We really let them. We had a piano in the house.
Do you play?
No. But my wife at the time did, and she was raised on it. So, and she could play a little bit. My eldest started to play a little bit, but I played drums, and I had a separate garage shed unit where I'd go whack on the drums. And of course, they like that more because it's more exciting than the piano.
Totally.
But they, none of them really play any instruments. They listen to music. They love music. They were exposed to a lot of different types of music. But I just think it's good to let kids be kids and gravitate to where they want to go rather than shoving them. And we found that worked at least best for our three.
Yeah.
So.
I love that. I want to take that for sure. And then it's interesting with some of the youth athletes that we work with here that are very motivated, of course. They wouldn't be here unless they were motivated, right? Because we're out of pocket. Like, if you're here to see us, it's like you're trying to get better at something, like we want to improve. So a lot of youth athletes that come see us, their parents are obviously very zealous, like in a good way, and also sometimes a little different direction. And I'm always kind of observing, I don't want to be a helicopter, but I want to improve them. I want my kids to be, so I'm always trying to pick that up and pick its different styles and little pearls that I can take. Cause this definitely can be, a paralysis for kids, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
And I want them to be kids, like you said.
Yeah. Well, I think you have a cool setup. So if I were a kid, like I'd bring my kids into something like that and they'd right away they thought it was playtime.
Yeah.
So
when my kids come over, oh man, they're always throwing the balls and trying to pick stuff up, run on the treadmill, play the bands.
Yeah.
I'm like, just don't drop on your foot. You know, we're helping them, but like get after it. Totally.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, so with all that being said, we talk about nutrition, we talk about fitness and stuff like that, getting people better. What are some of the most common questions that people, when they approach, right?
Yeah, usually.
ask?
So when people are coming in for membership, the questions are, does this work? Is it, it's mainly fear-based questions, which are okay because it's common. It's a very high, there's a lot of stress into making a choice about joining a gym, especially something like ours, because they see what it looks like. They see the action-oriented ads that we have, and they understand it from friends. And although it appears hard from the outside, it's always relative to the work that you're going to put into it. So, I recently, I can only share an experience. I went back to, after years of not wrestling, I went back on Randall's urging to try jujitsu. He's like, just give it a try. Just give it a try.
Yeah.
So, and he's been bugging me for 2 years about it. So I finally went and did it, and I was like, oh my God, why did I miss this so much? But even the first day back in, just humbling yourself and going, I don't know anything about this sport, and learning the basic techniques and then actually getting on the mat and practicing, it produces anxiety. I'm always anxious when I go to a new facility, not a HEW location, but if I'm traveling and I want to find a workout similar to ours, I have to go to a CrossFit. And it's always, especially being old, at 63, you walk in, people are like, have you done this before?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, I have, but I'm not that good, So
are you familiar with exercise?
Exactly.
This is a barbell.
Right.
I'm familiar,
But so we at HEW, and this is where I credit not only our team at HQ, the corporate team, but the franchise owners, where they do an excellent job of really alleviating and informing the customer and getting rid of the fear. So everything is all set up to where they're like, hey, I'll show you what this is. It's all numbered. Like the barbells have a number, the plates have a number associated with them. You add this on, it gets to this. Showing them, trying to alleviate those fears. But to answer your question, there is the common questions are, will this help me lose weight? It's too hard. I think I need to go do something first before I come in.
Yeah.
There's always some sort of fear that you have to help them overcome. And it really is a lot of common sense, but we stress more on the fun side of it all. You're going to feel really great when you're done with this. And of course, we modify everything. So when you come in, you're not going to be doing full-on rope climbs unless you're proficient enough to do it. But we scale everything from its beginning level and show them so that we alleviate much of that anxiety. But anxiety is a good thing. It's healthy to have a skepticism about what you're going to approach.
Right. Totally. I mean, I imagine because imagine like a female especially walking in and then seeing there's loud music.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, doing power cleans and it's noisy with the weights.
Yeah.
It looks intimidating.
It does. And it's chaotic. So think of a class size of 25 people, and this person is thinking, I'm just going into like a normal gym, so I'll have this one-on-one, which they do, but they go, oh my God, I got to jump into that. So, and we also know historically that it takes about 9 months for a customer to really pull the trigger. They've been thinking about it. We've had some people openly admit they pulled in the parking lot, saw the crowds going in, saw the crowds coming out, and were like, I don't know if I want to go do this.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
Totally. So. That makes total sense. I know for some similar conversations that I've had, as I'm like, how is this going to work for me? Is this going to solve my problem?
Yeah.
Right. Well, we're very confident we wouldn't be where we're at if we weren't solving people's problems, like consistently getting the results people want.
Right.
So it's not our end. Then isn't it? It's usually, from what I've exposed with some people or helped bring to light, it seems like it's a self accountability concern.
Yeah.
As in like, I don't know if I can stick to it.
Correct.
It's like, well, that's what we're here for.
Right.
We're here for support.
Yeah.
And we're going to hold your hand.
You nailed it. So my approach, and I think you would have to agree with this, exercise to you is like bathing or brushing your teeth. It's something that you do daily. It's become habitual since you were a kid. You feel comfortable. You feel good when you had a hard day work. You go shower, brush your teeth, you're ready for bed. Exercise to me is the same approach. It's how do you establish building that habit, because many parents didn't do that with kids as they were growing up. So it's how do I take care of my body, this machine?
Yeah.
What's the best way to do it? Even if it's the simplest form of doing jumping jacks every morning when you get out of bed, you want to establish that routine. So we provide that mechanism for the average person.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what message would you want to convey to somebody who's at month 8 of their considerations of coming and joining, and they're almost past the cusp of like getting enough courage to come in and be like, okay.
Great question. I would tell them, don't hesitate. Your first class is always free. Come in at any one of the locations. The owners, the managers are so good. They're going to, within a 5-minute conversation with you, they're going to know what to do in terms of how to scale your workout for you to make it worthwhile. And it really is that simple. I mean, you could be, an extremely overweight person, still come in and do the stuff. You could be the most fit guy in the world. Your fitness level doesn't preclude you from coming into a location. It's the mindset of, hey, I want to make this part of my life. And when you're ready for that, we're there for you.
Like being fit, like this gym is only for super fit people.
Yeah.
It's totally false.
We hear it all the time. It's crazy. It's where you come to get fit.
Yeah, exactly. With that being said, like on a super rare occasion, I think this has happened in the past, and I'm just picturing myself with other people's shoes, where imagine if a super fit person at the gym, right, is exercising, and somebody who's not super fit wants to get better and get fit, and they're overweight, they're probably self-conscious, they're nervous, intimidated. And if they were to approach somebody who's very fit and be like, hey, my name's John, like, I'm not really sure what to do. Can you show me this? I'm very, very confident the very fit person would probably be like, oh my gosh, totally. Yeah. Let me show you that. I'm like super 100%. Excited for you asking me this. Like, I can't wait to show you.
Yeah.
Versus the hypothetical perceived thought of like, you don't belong here. Right. What are you doing? Don't bother me. Ask me questions.
Yeah, never.
That would never happen.
Never. And you nailed it. Really, people who are, it would be like you going to Elon Musk and saying, how did you really become a billionaire? He's going to want to tell you everything because he knows you're coming with a genuine heart, asking for real advice and something that he's an expert at.
Right.
So it's the same approach if I come to you. Like before we even started the podcast, I asked you, hey, I got this jacked up back. And you started to go, what you were asking me questions specifically. I tried to explain it as best as I could. And you were like, here are some of the remedies that we offer. So I think it's because you're extremely knowledgeable about what you do. We take the same approach. And you're right. The customer's perspective is they're anxious, apprehensive. They're thinking the expert guy doesn't want to share, but he wants to share as much as possible.
Yeah. He's like nerds out on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're nerd out on that stuff. So please ask those questions. I'm very, very confident anybody in that situation would be excited.
Yeah.
They would light up immediately. Be like,
oh, for sure.
Let me tell you everything. This is amazing. You know, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
No, about your back, I was like, I wanted to talk more. I just didn't have time before the podcast. I wish I could told you more stuff. That's where I'm like, more. Yeah. Like, oh shoot, we got a podcast.
Yeah.
Get going. That's awesome. Okay, last question. As a busy professional, right? You're a business owner, you're a father, right? Growing the company, and you have a lot of stuff going on. How do you navigate your own schedule to fit in your workouts? Because I think I hear a lot is like, I don't have time. I'm busy.
Yeah.
I don't have time to work out.
It is habitual for me. So I'm up every morning, 4 a.m., just out of habit over years of having to open the gym early and running through that. But I usually get up, do a little bit of prayer, meditation, check my emails, and then my day really starts. And that's where I, do something at home, whether it's walking or whether riding a bike or doing now, since my back issue, having a little bit of yoga stretches. But I try to get to the gym every day if I can, at least 5 days a week. And on the weekends, I'm always active anyway. So if I'm not out bike riding, I will run. I live literally across probably 400 meters from a park that has a pull-up bar and all that kind of stuff. So I'll go over there and do some pull-ups, do some toes to bar, do burpees, sit-ups, push-ups, run around the park, come back, do box jumps, and then repeat that cycle.
Yeah.
So I don't view it as anything negative or a detriment. Like, how do I find time? I prioritize the time. And I know that sounds, crazy to a lot of people because they're like, well, I don't know how you do it, but it's always short. It's 15 to 20 minute workouts. And I think anybody who struggles to find that time in their day, we could easily help them find time in their day for that, whether they're doing it at home or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think I totally agree with that. I feel like it's like something I heard from somebody, a mentor, like, nobody's really busy. we just prioritize.
Yeah.
What's a priority, right? As in like, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to do this instead. They just find more perceived value whenever they're choosing over something else.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So it sounds like you're saying you have to convince yourself that the priority is some kind of physical fitness. And with that being said, if it is a high priority, you'll fit it in at some point in the day.
Yeah.
And then just purposefully fitting it in the day that makes most sense for you, right?
Yeah. And I find I think better. So I don't really do it for the physical benefits, although that's a benefit.
A byproduct of it, yeah.
I do it because I'm so ADHD. As soon as I do it, I'm like, oh, okay, man, I feel way better. And I think better throughout the day. I think I function better. I know I function better throughout the day.
Yeah, same.
So it works for me.
Same. I was just talking to somebody recently about that, of like, I have to prioritize my workouts. I want to. I feel better. And at the end of the day, I have like great brainstorming sessions. You know, when I work out, I'm always, the best ideas come when I'm working out or in the shower. And I'm always like, where's my phone? I got to write this thing down so I don't forget.
Yeah.
And then also stress relief, you know. But
are you a morning workout guy?
No.
Okay. Afternoon?
Usually mid-morning before lunch.
Okay.
Like after this, I want to bang out a workout.
Yeah.
Because after I eat lunch, I'm usually a little groggy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And my sharp, high mental focus time is usually first thing in the morning.
Okay, same.
I wake up and I'm usually like a lot of ideas. Listen to a podcast on my drive, and then everything's like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And then I'll see patients, and then I'll knock out a workout before lunch.
Yeah.
And then after lunch, I'll bang out business stuff, like administrative stuff. But the priority, you know, it's just prioritizing. And then eventually you catch momentum.
Yeah.
You know, that's something else that I've struggled with that I know a lot of people have, of like, well, I missed my workout this week. Like I didn't work out this week, but now I was lost.
Yeah.
Might as well just kick this week.
Yeah.
Eat a bunch of pizza.
Yeah.
Just crush some beer.
Yeah.
It's all over. You know, I'm too far away at this point.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's easy. So it's a lot of people do that. It's the same choice that you can make to apply it to a routine. So it's the same amount of energy regardless. The energy to not expend is the same amount of energy to expend. I'd rather just
Makes sense.
Move it in a positive direction.
Yeah. Man, I hear that. It makes so much sense. Similar note with that, like the thing that I've been procrastinating on, the time that I've been procrastinating, I would have been done with the thing.
Oh yeah.
And I'm still ruminating over it. And it's looming.
Right.
You know, I hate that. It's the worst. It's the worst.
Yeah. And it's the same amount of energy you're spending thinking of procrastinating. So I'd rather just put it into action and then go, okay, accomplish that.
Done. Checked off the box. That's awesome. Okay. Next, last thing. We'll wrap it up with this. What's the hardest thing you've ever done?
Oh, wow. Well, can I answer it this way? Probably the hardest and most rewarding thing.
Okay.
Hardest thing I think is raising kids and trusting that you're doing it the right way or the best way that you could conceivably have done and will do, but also the most rewarding. So in my experience, like even opening a business, as chaotic as all that stuff is, it's far easier than corralling in your case, 2 kids and the third one on the way, going out in public and trying to teach them how to behave and not, you know, be crazy in front of the restaurant people, but just letting them do their own thing and knowing that they're going to get into situations that no matter how much you forewarn them about, they're going to do anyway. And then looking back on your life and reflecting, going, oh my God, I did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And my parents were extremely loving and very, you know, giving a lot of leeway, but always taught us to make the right choices and led by example very well. So that to me has probably been the hardest, most challenging thing, but by far the most rewarding.
I totally agree with all that. It makes total sense. I believe you. You know, I believe you with all that stuff.
Yeah.
At what ages were the kids, like I imagine like teenage years, or is it like when they're 10 to 12 years old doing things like I did the same thing. I forewarned you, but.
Yeah, probably teenage years. And, you know, can bring you great sorrow or great joy. And sometimes their mistakes are like, oh man, I can't believe they did that, you know. But we've all done it. Yeah. And so I think good parenting says, let them go through this and always be there, you know, at their side and say, okay, time to move on. Let's move in the right direction.
That's amazing. I'm just mentally preparing myself to get ready for that.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Oh boy. Awesome. Oh, well, okay. Then what's the hardest physical thing you've ever done?
Murph.
Okay.
The workout Murph, a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, followed by a mile run with a weight vest on. It's just, if you do it as prescribed, mentally, it's challenging. And so if you can get through that mental barrier of like, I'm just biting off chunks at a time, 2 push-ups here, 3, 5 air squats there, just working through it. But I think those hero workouts are probably any named workout after a military service person. They're very challenging to do. But Murph is probably one of the hardest physical things I've done in a short period of time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I've only done modified Murphs. I've never done like the prescribed Murph.
Yeah.
That's not something I have even tried.
Yeah.
But just modified versions.
Yeah.
And it's that modified version is hard too,
And wrestling practice.
Wrestling practice, yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys are always...
I think, coming from a wrestler's background, I'm sure, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think it's probably the toughest physical sport to train for. That's my opinion.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. Because they outworked the football team from a hard work, consistently standpoint, in my opinion, that I observed.
Yeah.
Because football practice, you can still, between plays, and you're waiting for the other team, the second string, first string, interchanging and stuff. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I never wrestled, but just observing.
And I think the mindset, it really produces a lot of perseverance, a lot of dedication. I think that's one of the benefits of it for sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Having a good discussion on life and kids and everything and exercise.
Yeah.
If people want to reach out to you guys, what's the best way they can reach you?
HewFitness.com. It's real simple. Everything's on the website.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And if you have any questions for us, don't ever hesitate to reach out. We can at least chat on the phone about what you have going on, and then maybe point you in the right direction of what may be best for you. And if any comments, questions, concerns, or conflicting opinions in the podcast, we're always open to ideas too. So you can always reach out to us. Our best way to reach out to us is probably our admin email. It's team@athleterc.com. And thanks again, man, for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We'll have to have you on again and expand on some of these topics.
Yeah, cool.
And we'll catch y'all next time.